Alright, how you guys doing? So this is my time lapse of the watercolor I recently did. This is Neil from masterpaintingnow.com, and I'll be using the Kuretake Japanese watercolors. They're absolutely awesome. I think they're my favorite, even compared to ones that come out of like really expensive ones that come out of the tube. These are super affordable. They're like 35 bucks for the whole set, and they literally work just as good. You'll see, like, look how like saturated the fire gets, as you saw there. That was actually a picture from my phone. And that's pretty much true to the real colors. What you're seeing here on the recording is pretty true to real colors, but it's a little bit saturated when it comes to fire. But by the time we get to the end, the fire pretty much matches the picture, as you'll see. But anyway, at first it'll look a lot more saturated than it actually is. At this point here, I'm just kind of I want kind of like this kind of grayish look to the background. I don't want the background to detract from the figure, so I didn't want to put too much detail in the background. I want the background to look more almost like a foggy mist type thing. So I'm using this kind of just desaturated. I mixed some different blues with some green, and just using a lot of water to make it look more desaturated. And then I added just a little bit of green to that one branch there, just to kind of add some variation. Now that I think about it, I might even go in and just do some wash over really fast and add just a little bit of warmer colors to the background, just like maybe like a little bit of red oranges, a kind of like desaturated red oranges, which will look like kind of like browns, and just add it throughout there. Now, unfortunately, I had already painted a lot of the fire, and I didn't realize it was off camera. Now, at this point here, the fire looks really saturated on the camera, the recording, but in real life, at this point, the fire looks very desaturated. It doesn't even look like fire yet. So it's kind of deceiving that it already looks like fire, but so I had to put a lot more work into it, and I'm gonna try to figure out if there's a way. I have it on pro settings, but I don't know if there's a way I can like make the saturation less when it's recording. I'm not sure if there is or not though. Like her arm right now looks a lot more saturated than it did in real life. It looks a lot more like yellows and oranges, and it doesn't look like that when I was doing it in real life. So the different brushes I'm using here, this is a Kuretake brush right here, and it's it's some type of real hair. I can't remember what kind of hair it is, but it's not the goat hair one. It's the other one. It's the more expensive one. It's about 16 bucks after shipping, I think, and I believe it comes from Japan. At least that's the site I ordered it from. I believe it shipped from Japan. It's just an awesome brush. It's got a really long hairs that hold ink for a long time. You can get super fine thin lines to thick lines. You'll see here when I start doing the leaves of the tree here, the leaves on the tree in the beginning, I use this brush for a little bit, and then I switch over to a different brush that I can scrub more with, because I don't like scrubbing with this brush. It's not made for that. But look at that. I mean, I can add thick lines to thin lines in her hair there with that brush. It's awesome. I use this brush for a majority of all my painting. It's very versatile. I can do a lot with it. So I'm going back in the fire now. Unfortunately, you can't really see the difference it's making, but anyway, just went back in there and adding more saturated color, just with less water in it. And her hair also looks very saturated, a lot more saturated than it does in real life. So does her skin. But anyway, you saw the true colors. You'll see the true colors again at the end, at least pretty close to true color. I like adding, multiple variations of colors throughout the painting. So obviously her legs are close to the fire, so they need to be like a lot more red to them. And I decided to actually make her feet and stuff almost disappear into the fire and kind of look like they are the fire, they're on fire, almost like wood when it's been burning for a long time. It looks like red and orange, because it's all burnt up. And now I'm doing the medical cross in her hand, which it'll be glowing green. And that was kind of a challenge as to how I was going to do that with watercolor. And if I had given it more pre-thought, I think I would have left a lot more white in that area for the glow. Now here, watch, look at the versatility with that brush. That's all done with that Kuretake brush. Now I switch to a different brush. This brush costs about, I think it was $8, something like that. That big brush there is a really expensive brush, but it's really good for filling a lot of area. Now I switched to another brand of brush here that I like as well. It's got shorter bristles, but it's also number 8. I believe that Kuretake is either number 6 or number 8. I think it's number 8 as well. But it has a much finer tip than the brush I'm using now. The brush I'm using now is really good to cover more area, and also I can scrub with it more, and I'm not so worried about if that ruins it because it's not as expensive of a brush. I like to blow dry a lot in between because I'm impatient. I don't like to wait for stuff to dry. Now I'm using this cool white pen. I can't remember. I think this pen is also from Japan, but it basically feels like almost like white out inside of a pen, and you can't like continue coloring over itself, but it's good for drawing lines and dots and things like that. And I try to use my eraser here, and I realized, you know what, if I was going to erase that, I'm going to have to use a electric eraser, I think. So instead I used the white pen to add it back in there. I could have used, white acrylic as well too if I wanted to add some white back in there. Now I'm just adding kind of like a yellowish green glow and making sure I get some of it onto the tree branches. I almost felt like that was overkill. Now I'm just kind of flattening out the paper, and I managed to erase some of it, but yeah. Overall, I like the painting. It's definitely my vision as I imagined it. But I'm not so sure if I like the end execution. It looks good, but I think I might want to go a little more abstract with the colors. I'm not sure yet. So I might repaint this one, revisit it and repaint it. If I do, my idea is to do more of like reds and purples for her body, kind of like I did now, but just more abstract, and then have the red go all the way into the background, like almost all the right hand side of the background, almost as if the whole forest is kind of on fire, and then kind of moving over to the left hand side where her cross is glowing, and have that part of it be green, and have it kind of like that forest kind of turn into greenish, green, red, and browns. So that's kind of the idea that I have. I'm not sure yet though. I'll have to see. But I got other ones I got to paint first, so maybe we'll get back to this one after I do those ones. But now watch, here we are. Now you can see the true colors here, right? Now there you go. That's pretty much the true colors. And look how saturated that fire is. That took a lot of time. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Hey, if you enjoyed this little commentary and step through of the watercolor, then please do me a favor. Go ahead and smash that like button, and go ahead and subscribe, and share it with your favorite social media, because if you enjoyed it, most likely other people will enjoy it as well. And stay tuned for more watercolors. I'm going to be doing a whole series. This is part of my surreal figure collection, and this one's called Mary Jane Went Down to Georgia. It's a lot of hidden meaning there to this painting. Every painting will have a meaning to it, and yeah, so that's that.